It is about, I don't know, 6 in the morning, something like that. And I've just spotted the moon peeping through the clouds. It's raining very heavily. It's Thursday morning. I'm feeling a lot better today. I'm feeling a lot less stuffed up. I will never be totally clear in my ears and my head in the winter. It's something that always happens to me. But I do feel a lot more like myself today. But I've just had to go outside. I've just taken my coat off, hence I've got funny hair. I've always got funny hair. The drain pipe, we've got a down pipe which goes across the flat roof above here and goes into the gutter. And for some unknown reason, it sort of seems to shift and then misses the gutter. And because it's not sort of piped in, it's just sort of aimed towards the gutter. And in heavy rain, it seems to miss. So I have to get a hoe and give it a bang to get it back into place. So it's now back in place. I've just emptied a couple of trugs that were full of water as well. It's really, really, really wet and stormy feeling, and feeling quite cool as well. But it's about, I don't know, 12:15, and I'm really in the mood for something baked, some baked goods for lunch. So I'm going to attempt to make some cheese and onion rolls, but without cheese, using nutritional yeast flakes and some potato. I think I've got one potato left. I've got some red onion. I've got some yeast flakes. So I'm thinking of sort of combining all of that, wrapping it in pastry and baking it and serving it with a tin of baked beans. Yeah, why not? And I thought I'd take you along for the ride. So I've got a potato, which I've washed, and I'm going to steam it in the microwave. So all I'm going to do is cut it up into cubes, throw it into a little bowl, just roughly, really rough. And all I'm going to do is throw a little bit of water in there, cover it and microwave it for about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, while that's microwaving, I'm just going to chop an onion, red onion, as finely as I can. I'm not a very good chopper, but you know, you make do, don't you? Let's just pop that into a bowl. So my potatoes are microwaved. What I'm going to do is just give them a mash with a fork. There's a little bit of water left in the base of the bowl, so I'm leaving that water in because that will get incorporated. So I'm going to throw the onions in. I'm actually going to only put half of them in to begin with and just have a look and see what it feels like. Then I'm going to add some yeast flakes. And for those of you who don't know, yeast flakes are yeast flakes, and they contain good amounts of B12 and other B vitamins, and are great as a cheese substitute. So I'm just going to put a reasonable amount in and stir them through. Teaspoon or two of English mustard. Good amount of black pepper. Just adding a touch of oat milk. Just a touch more. Just a few more yeast flakes. I think a pinch of salt. One last good stir. And that is our filling. I'm going to cover that up and let it cool. I'm going to make a quick batch of pastry. I've got 100 grams of plain flour and just over 50 grams of butter. I'm making a very quick short crust pastry. Okay, my hands were washed before. I'm going to go in and rub together. Do this as quickly as possible with as light action as possible, with the fingertips only. This is Guernsey butter that I'm using. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Resembles fine breadcrumbs. Now for some cold water. Notice the hands hardly coated with anything. I've got some ice cold water. Just going to sprinkle a little bit on top. As usual, go in with my knife to distribute the water. Keep adding and stirring until it comes together. Starting to come together. Test with your hand, see if it comes together. Yeah, that's coming together. Just bring it together gently. No need to knead it, just needs to come together. What I'm going to do is pop that into some cling wrap, into the fridge for 15 minutes to cool it down. Not that it's particularly hot, but hey. Okay, that will do. Into the fridge. Okay, so time to roll out. Not sure how this is going to work. It's an experiment. Also not sure how many it's going to make either. But hey, we're going to go for it. I'm going to sort of knock this into a bit of a square. I think that should make 4 good ones, I think. Got my mixture over here. I'm just going to roughly divide that up. Into 4. Just pinching the edges together. That's it. I'm going to poke some holes in there, and I think I'm going to give them a little bit of a wash with something, I think. So I've given them a little crimp around the edges, hoping that that's going to seal them in. I think this one's going to explode here. But yeah, it's an experiment, and I've given them holes in the top, and I've washed them with olive oil. Did I just say that? Can't remember. Yeah, I'm going to put them into the oven at 170 for about 20 minutes. See what happens. They're probably all going to explode. We'll eat them anyway, even if they do. I've got a little bit of mixture left, which I thought I might fry that up. Just make it into a little potato cake. So there we are. That's nearly 30 minutes. A little bit of splitting, but nothing horrendous. So I'm really pleased with those. I think next time I would probably glue the sides down really well. We're going to have these for lunch now. We've got some baked beans on the go. So yeah, we'll see what they taste like. So, did the food experiment work? Can it satisfy Paul's needs?
I'm sure it can. These look lovely though.
They cooked.
Yeah.
Nice and hot.
Nice.
Pastries cooked.
Absolutely. I'm going to have without baked beans.
What's the pastry like?
Really light pastry. Nice filling, really cheesy with a Z. I mean, these, yeah, they're delicious.
Great. Well, I shall dive into mine now and enjoy it. Thank you, Paul.
I think they'd mostly freeze raw, wouldn't they?
I would have thought so,
And
yeah.
then could be baked. So, I mean, you know, we've been talking in Sunday Chat about ultra-processed foods, and yeah, this is something to switch to.
Well, it's homemade, so,
absolutely,
you know.
So it's not.
Anyway, that's it, because I want to dive into mine now. Okay, thank you. See you later. Well, I have to say, they were fantastic. That pastry was so crumbly and light. I think I'm good at pastry. I think I am. I think I inherited that from my mother. Yeah, really good. So I think I might be bringing that to you as a proper cookery video. And of course, the possibilities are endless in terms of the filling. And I was really impressed how they stayed together well. There was a little bit of splitting, but if I guess you used some water and milk to really seal them in, and maybe the pastry could have been slightly larger to make that a little bit easier. But I was really impressed how it inflated the pastry. It sort of puffed up a little bit and was so flaky and crumbly for a short crust. I think that might have been the Guernsey butter. So yeah, really good recipe, really lovely filling, giving that cheese experience without any cheese. So naturally much lower in fat. So really pleased. I'll see you later. I think it's coming up to about 7 o'clock and it's a little bit misty. There's the moon this morning. Morning. It is what day? Friday. Cold, cold, cold. Frosty morning. Yeah. Frost on the rooftops. Frost on some of the windows. So yeah, it's a cold one. What have we got in store today? We're hoping to go and get our flu jabs today. I found a chemist that has got them in stock. One other chemist that I tried didn't have them in stock and led me to believe there was a manufacturing issue. Then I phoned another chemist and they said, yeah, no problem, come tomorrow, we've got them in stock. Very odd indeed. So yeah, nothing else to report at the moment. Yeah, cold and bright. Yeah, that's it at the moment. I'll see you later. Starlings are enjoying the berries on the palm tree. This happens every year. They're very skittish. So one move from me towards the window and they'll all fly off. But they just love those berries, they really do. And I'm glad, so glad, that they're being eaten. Because you see so many berries that haven't been eaten and you think, gosh, you know, why haven't the wildlife had them? Sorry it's not particularly steady this, but it's my phone. And then there was one. Oh, another one's back. And we've got so many of these flower heads. Because we've got about, I think we've got about 5 or 6 palms. And they're all Cordyline australis, brought over here from Guernsey by Paul's dad. Most of them are sort of 20 plus years old. So there we are, there's the starlings. It's a little later Friday morning. We've just been out to the local pharmacy to have our flu jabs. We're really pleased that we've got them done. And I just want to say thank you to our coffee supporter TXX for funding that, which was really generous. We're really grateful. We like to do it because I think we've said before, we've both had flu, proper flu in the past, and it's not fun at all. So we like to try and, you know, protect ourselves. So we've had that done. Hurrah! And I think Paul is just about to do some lunch. What are you cooking, Paul? What are you making? Oh, is it soup?
It's soup. Well, I cooked some lentils this morning, red lentils, and I added some leftover soup from yesterday to it. Ooh. And some bouillon powder and a tin of little lentil soup as well. So Yeah,
Just beefs it up a bit, doesn't
it
it?
does. And we had some leftover of our own soup from yesterday. There's another batch in the freezer, but just for quickness today, that's what I'm doing.
And I see you've made a loaf
And
as
I made a
well.
loaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're having soup with bread.
Well,
What do you mean,
yeah, we
well?
could do. Yeah. Yeah,
I want the bread.
we
So, yeah, there you go. See you later. Say goodbye to the good people.
Goodbye to the good people.
God, it's such terrible light in here. Oh, well, I don't mind. Welcome to Monday afternoon. It is absolutely chucking it down outside. Another horrible wet day, but no matter. I have things that I've been getting on with, and I've been doing quite a bit of work with the runes. Now, those of you who joined me on Friday night heard me talking about the runes during the live show. And I hope you don't mind me talking about them. Don't worry, I'm not going to suddenly become rune centric and do videos on runes all the time and rune readings and all of that. No, I'm not going to be doing that. And I'll tell you first why I'm not going to be doing that, because I've watched quite a few channels recently of runesters who do work with the runes, and the amount of abuse that they get from so-called rune masters and experts in Norse and Germanic mythology. The fire that they get is kind of mainly around, how dare you, you're not of the northern soul, you're not allowed to practice these because you're not born into it, blah blah blah, which I find very odd. I'm pretty sure that Odin wouldn't mind, to be honest. I find the judgmental nature of people very, very odd. And actually, in some of the rune books that I've read, there can be a little bit of that attitude. For example, one of the books that I read, I remember it saying about homosexuality, how that was terribly frowned upon because it wasn't to do with procreation of the tribe, and how these days it would still be viewed upon as not right within that community. How ridiculous. Because as far as I'm concerned, anybody engaging in any kind of magical practice does not have those kind of prejudices. It's just not part of who those people are, you know? So there's some really weird people out there who are terribly protective of anybody new coming into their field. But let's be clear, I'm not new to this field. This rune set that I've got in front of me, which I'll show you in a minute, was the first rune set that I was gifted. I was given it. It's wooden with red runes, and I've actually been re-inking them this afternoon because you do that from time to time, just to keep them nice and vibrant and fresh. So, you know, I'm familiar with the runes. I've written 2 journals on the runes. I'm still on my second one. And yeah, what I want to also say is I want to dispel a bit of a myth. Because if you read into the actual history of the runes themselves, if you look at the Poetic Edda, which is the main source of any information about the runes other than some of the stone carvings that we see, within that body of work, which is quite extensive, goes on and on and on about the gods and on and on and on about this and that, tiny bit of it mentions the runes, and they are mentioned as secrets, and they aren't directly talked about either. You know, it's not like a handbook saying, and this rune means this. No, not at all. So there is literally nothing specific written about the runes. It's very little. It's very, very little. Scant. So considering I've got how many room books here have I got? One, two, three, four. I've got about 10 in my Kindle, and I've got another couple upstairs. Considering there is such a small amount of information on the runes themselves, especially the Elder Foddock, which is the one that I practice, which is the oldest version, there is such little information that people have found an awful lot to write about, considering there's hardly any sources about the runes. There's plenty of sources about Norse mythology and the gods and the different worlds and all of that. But on the runes themselves, very little indeed. So it begs the question, where does the information come from? So a lot of it is intuition. The names of the runes, however, are taken from later versions of the Foddocks. So you've got, I think, the Anglo-Saxon, and then you've got the Scandinavian version. And what they've done is looked at those two later versions and assumed that the names for the Elder Foddock are X, Y, and Z. That's what they've done. So I wanted to sort of mention that, and this sort of rune snobbery that seems to go on, which I find very bizarre. And I also wanted to mention how I feel about the runes themselves. I remember being aware of runes probably through things like Tolkien. Although I didn't really read Tolkien, I kind of was aware, and I think I'd probably started Lord of the Rings and got so bored of the rings, that I gave it up. But I think Alan Garner has maybe mentioned runes in his book. I'm not sure. I don't know, but I certainly knew of them. Might have been a Myths and Legends book that I'd read when I was a child. So when I was gifted these runes, I was kind of delighted inside and thought, I've got to know more. I've got to know more about these symbols and what they mean. And the more I sort of delved into it, the more I realized that these are symbols and reflections of things that very often occur in nature. And the more you learn about the supposed meanings of the runes, the more you learn that, yes, they're related directly to nature, animals, trees, plants. Yes, also the gods as well, but also the sort of stories around survival of those people, those ancient people. So when you look at it that way, you also start to see evidence of runes in nature. Now, there's a tree outside our house, I'll show it to you in a minute, that looks a bit like this rune here. And it has a face on the tree itself. And to me, that tree, which just sits on the road just by our front yard, to me, that tree with its spread out branches and its little angry looking face, to me that's a tree spirit, and it's protecting our house. So that's my knowledge, that's my story that I have thought about myself, not written it down anywhere, not told anybody. It's just my story, and it's my little feeling every time I look at that tree when I sit down in the front room, facing north, funnily enough. And then you begin to sort of realise that the runes were an oral tradition. So very little would have actually been written down about the stories, but the stories were designed for people to remember the runes. So they probably would have been carved on pieces of wood, which of course would not have survived. The only ones that do survive are carved in rock. So it was a very deep-seated tradition that was passed on by mouth and stories. And of course, those stories would have been embellished over time and added to. And eventually, they were written down, eventually, in the, I think, 12th and 13th centuries. And then, of course, they probably would have been watered down further with the introduction of Christianity to certain parts of the world, and then probably quashed. And then, of course, we have revivals occur at certain times, the early 1900s, the 1930s. So, to me, it's about nature and the cycle of nature and tapping into whatever energies lie within those aspects of nature. And, you know, I've done quite a lot of rune readings for friends over the years. What I try to do is look at the supposed meaning of each rune and then look at the person's life, where they are at that time, what their hopes are, what they're trying to move towards, what they're trying to move through, you know. And then we work together on trying to understand what the runes are telling us. And that's it, you know. It's not about making stuff up. It's not about meditating for too long on something. It's simply about, this is what it means. How does that fit into your life? That's it. And yes, I guess there might be a little bit of intuition thrown in. But I don't see the need to overcomplicate things. And I'll illustrate that now in the more practical sense, because this is what I've been working on. First of all, I've made these delightful little drawstring bags. I've made two of these, one for my wooden runes and one for my amethyst, and they've got a large opening to enable the hand to go in and to easily pick out a rune if that's the method you use. Sometimes you might lay them out. I don't think you do that with the amethyst ones because they don't lie flat. So I've made a large version of that bag as well to hold all my runes in, and my quartz crystal, which I use for clarity. Where is my quartz? Oh, there she is. Yeah, my nice big piece of quartz crystal that I like to have out nearby. And it's got some beautiful rainbows in it. It's a lovely one. But yeah, the other thing that I spent quite a bit of time doing is compiling a quick reference guide using a small notebook, rune keywords and phrases. And I have literally gone through my notes, my journal, and done basically a key for each rune with the simplistic of phrases and words, most simplistic, just to fire off the imagination when you're talking with somebody over a rune reading, and looking at the possibilities of that particular situation. So I'll give you an example. The first rune of the series, which is Fihu, or Fi, some people call it, or Fehu. This rune originally is supposed to mean cattle. So in ancient times, cattle was a sign of wealth because it was also a movable piece of wealth as well. And the more cattle you had, the more wealthy you were considered. So that rune may come up if somebody is thinking about money issues. It can also relate to other movable pieces of wealth, like gold, for example. But it comes up if somebody is thinking about money issues or finance. And thinking about it in a more wider sense, it's the first rune of the series, so it's also to do with creation and also the cosmic cow it's related to as well, supposedly. And it's really interesting because many, many years ago, when we had the foot and mouth crisis and all those poor cattle had to be slaughtered, I remember thinking to myself, there's something fundamentally wrong. On a very fundamental, basic level, there is something wrong with the world. It just felt as though the whole community, the farming community, had been shaken to its core. And it just seemed unbelievably tragic. And then in the past few years as well, we've seen incidents of people being killed by cattle, being killed by cows, being crushed or chased. And in my head, that kind of also thought there's something wrong. The cattle are fighting back. And it just felt significant to me that cattle were considered the basis of this whole cosmic story, and something's wrong with them, which means something is terribly wrong in the world. Interesting, huh? This is the kind of thought process that goes on when you start to think more deeply about these things. So there you go. I hope I haven't rambled on for too long. Let me show you these wooden ones. So here's the wooden set. I'll tell you what the names are. Fihu, Uruz, Thurisaz, Ansuz, Rido, Kenaz, Gibo, Wunjo, Hagalaz, Northes, Isa, Jara, Iwaz, Perthro, Algiz, Sawulo, Tewaz, Bakana, Awaz, Manaz, sorry, I can't see what I'm doing, Laguz, Inguz, Othila, and Dagaz. So I don't know whether any of you found that interesting or not. I just wanted to share that with you because I'm finding it interesting at the moment. And if you continue to be interested, I will show you the other rune sets at another time. So I'll see you later. Bye for now. Good afternoon. It's Tuesday. It is mid-afternoon around, what time is it? 20 past 3. And I'm up to my elbows in Christmas decorations. Yes, I have ordered an artificial tree. Don't have a go at me. Don't have a go at me. If you use an artificial tree for 30 years, and we may have 30 years left, then it's okay. It's okay. And I've ordered a white one. Yeah, I've always wanted a white tree. I love white trees. I think they just remind me of being in the depths of a snow-covered forest in the middle of winter in some Scandinavian country. My grandma always had a white tree, a white artificial one, and I used to love it, whereas my mum preferred the sort of traditional trees. We did have an artificial green one. In fact, I don't know whether it's still the same tree that my sister's got. I'm not sure. But we've always had real ones. And we did have pot-grown ones at one point. Managed to keep one alive for a while, but then it died. I always used to cut the trees down and burn the wood and the pine needles because they go up believe me, they go up. So yeah, I've ordered it. I've ordered a 5-foot one because anything larger than that is too wide for the space. Hi Paul, you disturbing my filming? Oh, thanks. But I put one thing up already, I'll show you. Our little jingly bell tree. There we go, which is quite sweet. That was given to us years ago by a friend. I think it was from IKEA.
You've got it the wrong way around.
Oh, it doesn't matter, Paul.
No, that's going to annoy my OCD.
You mean it's just the chain, that's all. Well, I don't see you putting anything up, Paul. I don't see you helping with the decorations.
I'm taking all of the peelings that are all over the kitchen.
They're not all over the kitchen, right? Sorry, I can't bear being talked about. This is the kitchen after me cooking. Things put away really neatly. All the peelings in a nice neat bag and a clean sink. When Paul does anything in the kitchen, it's like a bomb site. But hey, let's move on. He's gone now down to the plot, to the place where the things grow. And I am here literally up to my elbows in Christmas decorations. So I've got quite a few bits and pieces that I collected over a few years, quite a long time ago, but I keep them all neatly put away, and I've just been pulling them all out to look at what I've got in case I think I need anything else, and I really don't think I do need anything else. So I thought I'd share them with you because it's quite exciting. That's me getting excited about Christmas. Not particularly. But hey, let me show you what I've got. I know it looks a right mess, but it's actually quite organised. So in this box, I've got my baubles. Got some beautiful little glass trees there. And I've got white and sort of pearly and lilac, and then some little silver and lilac baubles. I've got some sequined baubles. I've got 2 of those. Got a big purple one there as well. And then on the table, it's just a mishmash of everything. Oh, I've got all sorts. I've got little sparkly snowflakes. I've got stars. I've got little garlands of stars with little trails. I've got crystal stars. I've got these lovely iridescent pinky purpley stars. I've got icicle garlands. Got a couple of those. I've got purple beads, pearlized beads. Got this really unusual wire one here. Love that one. I've got a couple of traditional ones there, a little snowman and a soldier. Let me see if I can show you these. I've got them wrapped up. They're little glass Christmas trees. Aren't they sweet? I've got 2 of those. I think they were given to us by Paul's mum. So I keep them well wrapped up, those ones, because they're very delicate. Pop those back in the box for the moment, because it's only tinsel and light things going on top. I've got this lovely crystal one. Well, it's plastic, obviously. I've got lots of these spare hooks for baubles. Got this little mirror ball one with a drop, a little mirrored drop on it. Got a crystal drop there. I've got my old gold angel. It doesn't go on the top though, she just sort of sits. Oh, I've got these as well. These are very camp. These fluffy gold ones. They're rather sweet. Oh, I've got some silver beads here. So yeah, and of course I've got tinsel. Got my star, which goes on the top. I love my star. I like a nice silver star. It's got a lovely trailing tail. And then the tinsel, I've got purple, big fluffy silver ones. I've got pearlized one. And I've got my gorgeous big purple one. Love this one. Oh, I could just wear that. In fact, I think the last time we did get these decorations out, we were wearing them in the Christmas special. And then a nice gold accent. And then I've got these big snowflakes, iridescent snowflakes. There we are, holographic ones. Got 3 of those. I just sort of placed them. And finally, I've got a metal and glass wreath. Let me just move that out the way. I've got 2 of those fluffy ones. I do like those. Yeah, I've got this. It's meant to go on a window, so it's got a chain, but the rubber hook that I use has kind of gone really weird and sort of started to disintegrate. So I need to pick up a new rubber suction hook so this can go on the window. So there we are. I have decided to bring some Christmas cheer into my life. So the tree is going to arrive on Friday. So that's Friday sorted, because it's going to take forever. With an artificial tree, you have to spend some time fluffing the branches up and shaping it and all of that. It's going to go in the front room, so I am going to have to move some things. I'll just sort of show you. I'm going to put it in the bay window. Alexa, front room on. I'm going to have to move the games table and probably put the games underneath the tree. It's a 5-footer, so it's just going to come up towards the blinds, and I'll have to move this chair over as well. Yeah. So there you go. That's where it's going to go. So I guess it's kind of fun. Alexa, front room off. I haven't done it for a good number of years now because we don't really celebrate Christmas in a traditional way, but something is, part of me is saying, oh, you'll enjoy a tree. Put a tree up, bring some festive cheer into the house. So yeah, in this room, I will be doing a little bit of decorating for the table, for our Christmas table. So one of our followers, Sharon, gifted me some lovely candle holders in red and clear glass. So I'm going to put a few little red and green accents in here for Christmas Day when we have a couple of friends over for Christmas dinner. So I will make it look a little festive in here too. But more on that when the time arrives, frankly. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So I need to pack these things back into their box, ready for Friday, and I'll keep the box out. And yeah, there you go. And obviously I will share with you the decorating of the tree. and the lighting up of the lights. That's if they work. You order these lights online, it's like, some of the reviews say they broke within 2 days. Things do not have quality. These lights that I've got here are purple lights, and they do work, but they're plug-in. And I don't really want 2 sets of plug-in lights. So, yeah. In fact, I better unravel these now. So I'm going to get on with that, and I've also got a video to make as well. So I'll see you later. It's Wednesday afternoon, and it's been quite bright today, which is lovely. It was wet this morning, I noticed. Let's have a look at the temperatures. Hold on. So it's 14 degrees in the house. Wow. And 13.5 degrees outside. 75% humidity. And looks like the pressure's going up. And it's a lovely, lovely sunny afternoon. Blue skies. Bit breezy. But yeah, lovely. We've just been filming Richard and Paul Cook, and you'll see that tomorrow. We made a pie, a delicious savoury pie, absolutely gorgeous. The pastry, again, was absolutely lovely, as was the filling, but I shall be keeping that a secret. But I shall show you the pie. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Paul's making tea. But yes, there is the pie. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. But as I just said, it's a savoury pie. So, and apparently my Christmas tree is arriving today, which is like 2 days earlier than expected. And I've got some Christmas tree lights coming as well. So I don't think I hadn't planned on doing it today, so I don't think I'll be bringing it forward because I've got other stuff to do. It's not on my list. Yeah, but that's it really for this week. Haven't got anything else to say. All is good, just getting on with stuff as usual. Filming, video making, editing, housework, etc., etc. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you very soon, probably for a little bonus vlog, I would have thought. I might do a standalone video on me doing the tree. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, because I don't want these vlogs to get longer and longer and longer, and they seem to every week. So I'll say goodbye for now. Take care.